Okay, great. Thank you very much, Inyas. So we have, just 5 people here. I don't know if we should wait for 1 more minute. If we can get more people to join, till the event is recorded, so we can always have access to the presentation and the slides afterwards. But I think we should wait 60 more seconds, just so more people would join us from the beginning. Okay, so I guess we'll just go ahead and start because we have two amazing speakers today and it's the weekend. We wouldn't want to waste much time. So hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depends on where you're joining us from. My name is Aisha and I'll be the moderator for today's session, or facilitator as the case may be. Oh, shit. Okay, so before we continue, we have like some basic ground rules, and some of which includes everyone muting their mic. I can see that all mics are muted, so, and we also encourage that all communications should be done in the chat with respect. We're all adults, and speaking nicely to people is very important, at least for humanity's sake. And before we proceed, I want everyone to just introduce themselves in the chat. You don't have to say much. You can just say your name and where you're joining us from. And if you want to be a little bit extra, you can tell us what you do. You can tell us what you do. So since I'm not having access to the chat box, like I'm just going to go ahead and introduce myself. Like I said earlier, my name is Aisha Suleiman. I am from Nigeria, and I'm joining from Nigeria. I am an energy and communications professional, and I am part of the co-founders of Maggreen. I'll just go to the chat and see who else is indulging us. Okay, Inyas is joining us from Togo. Welcome, Inyas. Thank you for joining us today. We also have Rock from Benin. Thank you for joining us. I must say that we've had over 20 episodes of this webinar so far, and I can confidently say we've had like one person constantly joining us. We've had different people joining the webinar, but we have some people that are joining us more frequently than the others. And I would like to, use this opportunity to appreciate the efforts of Rock from Benin. He's always joining us. Let's say 7 or 10% of the time, he's always joining us. So thank you very much for that. Then we also have, I don't want to mispronounce the name, so I'll just say Jania, who is a climate advocate, co-founder at Youth Empowerment from Cameroon, and she is joining us from Cameroon as well. And if you don't already know, she is one of our speakers, but I'll get to introduce her properly during the course of my talk. Okay. So the webinar agenda, we're supposed to spend like 5 minutes for the introduction, which we've spent more than, trying to wait for more people to join. And we're supposed to do like, how well do we know Africa? I'm not sure if we're doing that right now because our team member facilitating that, she's having some technical issues, but we'll see how to move around that. We might not do it at the particular time that we're supposed to do it, but we'll definitely do it immediately she joins the call. So we have introduction of the first speaker, the presentation. We also have question and answer. And then we have introduction of the second speaker as well. And the presentation, we have question and answer and the closing remarks. Though our second speaker is yet to join us, but for those of us that are here, I'd like to introduce Maggreen. We are the ones organizing this Africa Energy Series. And Maggreen is an organization that is basically focused on creating climate change awareness and promoting renewable energy solutions in Africa. And our vision is to build a community and network of like-minded individuals, not just individuals, but organizations who are focused on combating climate change and, promoting sustainable energy around Africa. Then this Africa Energy Series is one of our flagship series, which we launched late last year. And this was birthed as a result of the lack of knowledge among African youths regarding climate action, net zero targets, and energy transition. The knowledge about that in their respective countries and even neighboring or fellow African countries. So we wanted to bridge this gap. That's why we launched the series. And how do we intend to do it? It's a youth-focused series, which is like for youth by youth as well. So we want a situation whereby we have one person from each country, come to discuss about their climate actions, how climate change is affecting them, the actions they are taking at different levels, at community level, individual level, CSO level, government levels, some of the partnerships, some of the steps they are taking. We wanted it to be in such a way that when we have presentation from one country, people from other country get to learn, interact, share ideas, and identify areas of improvement. So these are some of the countries that we have covered so far. Botswana, Kenya, Guinea-Bissau, Burkina, Gambia, Benin, just to mention but a few. Sorry about that. Then to the Maggreen team, of course, we have a team, making things work from the back end, so starting off from my left-hand side, my own left-hand side, we have Mary Dora Kamara, who is our programs coordinator. She is from Sierra Leone. And then we have on my right, my humble self, Aisha Suleiman. I am in charge of communications and partnership for Maggreen. And then we have Georgette Celestine Udo, right in the middle, who is our technical coordinator. So we're going to skip this. I'm just going to peep and see if she's here. Okay, no, she isn't here. We're just going to skip this for now because she's supposed to be coordinating this. We hope to, have this game or whatever. How well do you know Africa? We hope we get to experience it on today's episode. So we have two speakers and I'm going to introduce the first speaker, who is from Cameroon. Her name is, please correct me when you're up. I'm just going to pronounce it the way I can read it from here. So we have Yosimbom Jane, Janyane, Yosimbom Janyane, who is a passionate 19-year-old youth leader from Northwest region of Cameroon, whose love for community service and promoting the UN SDG goals have led her to, be committed to climate action and gender equality. And she has been able to advance her passion and love for climate justice through her role as the co-founder of Youth Empowerment Cameroon, where she advocates for climate education, empowers youth on climate action, climate awareness, personal development, UN sustainability, and builds their capacity in the fields of advocacy and volunteering. So without wasting too much time, I'm going to introduce this next speaker when he comes up. I don't know why he isn't here yet, but would reach out. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'll give the floor to Jania Ney to, share her screen and would are eager to listen to her presentation. So you have the floor. I'll stop sharing now. Hello, Jania. If you're here and you can hear me, you have the floor to share your screen now and start your presentation.
Hello, Aisha. Thank you very much. I'm working on that right now. Just that my network has a little bit of a problem. I'm trying to share the screen.
Okay.
Please, can anybody see my screen?
No, I can't see anything for now.
Okay. No, they're telling me an error. I don't know.
Do you want to share your slides to us via email so we can try to project it from here?
Okay, I'll share. I'll just share by email now. Please check. I've sent it via email.
Okay, I'm trying to check the mail, but haven't received any yet. Okay, it's here now. So sorry everyone for the break in transmission. Please give me 60 to 90 seconds while I download the slide and project it so we can start properly. Once again, thank you very much for your patience so far. Okay, I have the slides now.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for your patience. I'm really sorry. I don't know what the problem is with my device today, but it's not really permitting me to share my screen. So, as Aisha said, I'm a climate action advocate from Cameroon, and I'm the co-founder at Youth Empowerment Cameroon. What we do at Youth Empowerment Cameroon is mostly climate advocacy and capacity building. So we organize sensitizations, climate education, smart smart climate agricultural workshops, even in schools and at the level of the community. So I'll be talking today on the climate and net zero actions in Cameroon, and I'll be giving a brief introduction about what net zero actually is. So net zero refers to the balance between the amount of greenhouse gas that is produced and the amount that is being removed from the atmosphere, and it can be achieved through a combination of emission reduction and emission removal. So Cameroon is a low greenhouse gas emitter with a record of over 0.27% share of the global greenhouse gas emissions, and 151 in the Human Development Index ranking globally, and 118 in the Climate Vulnerability Index ranking. So Cameroon is an ambitious emerging economy, which we envision our emergence as a more developed country or middle income developed country by 2035. And this this emergence will actually bring about an increase in the emissions that the country will be producing. So, but Cameroon
Hello,
intends to
sorry
reduce.
to cut you. Just let me know when you want me to change slides. I don't know
Okay. Please
what slide
change
are
the
you
slide.
on.
Please change the slide. Next again. Okay. So Cameroon intends to reduce the carbon footprint of its development without slowing down its growth by favoring mitigation options with high co-benefits, strengthening the country's resilience to climate change, aligning its sector policies, and strengthening its mechanism and implementation tools to facilitate the achievement of these goals. So they also seek to mobilize all relevant means at the end through funding, technology transfer, and capacity building workshops. Okay, next. Next slide, please. So, what are the bodies concerned in Cameroon? The bodies in Cameroon that are concerned with net zero plans. So, we have the Ministry of Environment, Nature Protection, and Sustainable Development. We have the Ministry of Economy, Planning, and Regional Development. We have the Ministry of Transport. We have the National Climate Change Observatory, which is still part or it still falls under the Ministry of Environment, Nature Protection, and Sustainable Development. Next slide. So what are the mitigation targets for Cameroon? These targets are they have to mitigate emissions by over 35% by 2035. Relevant, that was relative to 2010. And it includes an unconditional contribution of about 12% of its emissions. And we also have 25% share of renewable energies, excluding hydroelectric power by 2035, because currently in Cameroon, the main source of renewable energy in Cameroon is actually hydroelectric power. So next slide. So what are the targeted sectors? The targeted sectors here in Cameroon include the agriculture, forestry, and other land use. We have the energy sector, infrastructure, waste, transport, and the industrial sector. Next slide. Okay, so what are the legislation? These are laws that currently are put in place to ensure net zero. So we have the Prime Ministerial Decree number 103 CAP PM which was regarding the creation, organization, and operation of steering committee for the activities to reduce emissions from deforestation, degradation, sustainable management, and conservation of forests. So this decree is established by the Committee of the Red, and I'll be talking more about red maybe in the subsequent slides for those who really don't know what red is. So the second law is is law number 201102 of which governs the electrical sector or the electricity sector in Cameroon, and it works on the diversification of energy supply and increase energy efficiency. So Cameroon is committed to promoting renewable energy sources such as hydroelectric power, solar, and wind energy, aiming to improve energy efficiency to reduce emissions from the energy sector. So through this investment in the hydroelectric power and other renewable energy sources, excuse me, and it has been estimated to over 5 billion francs, $5 billion, sorry, for this project to be realized. Currently, it's just still a law, but there are many other, there are many, there are many efforts being put in place by the government here, and we have the construction of about 2 dams currently since this law was being made, and these dams have been able to provide electricity to over about 50 local communities in Cameroon currently. Next slide. Okay, so we also have provision of statistics and information for research purposes, surveys, through documents such as Decree number 212587 PM, which sets out how to protect the environment. So it establishes the air quality measurement and control stations designed to ensure compliance with the requirements set out to protect the environment from a list of pollutants. These pollutants are usually carbon dioxide, methane, and chlorofluorocarbons, and it mostly applies to the transport and the industrial sector. So our public investment management. So priority areas including promoting climate smart agriculture, building resilient energy and transport infrastructure, diversification of energy supply, disaster risk reduction, and improving population resilience. So we have there's a committee that is actually under the Ministry of Environment, Nature Protection, and Sustainable Development that is meant on managing investments that work on these aspects, that work on these areas, which promote climate smart agriculture, building resilience, the diversification of energy supply, disaster risk management, and improving population resilience. So it has very which is a has framework to mainstream climate considerations in the project cycle. Next slide. Okay, we also have the National Climate Change Adaptation Plan, which was from 2015 to 2035, and it consists of 4 programs. These programs actually focus because most of these programs here now are mostly implemented by civil society organizations in collaboration with the government. And these civil society organizations, they work with youth through maybe youth-led programs, youth-led initiatives that helps them to be able to get grassroots advocates such as myself to be able to collect information, to be able to give out information, be able to collect information from the locals and send back to the organizations, which later forward this to the government. So these areas focus on enhancing knowledge, educating populations through seminars, workshops, capacity building sessions. We have vulnerability reduction. We also have integrating adaptation into the national sectoral strategies and policies in the country. Next. Okay, also have re-regulation and land rights. This mostly has been because Cameroon is part of the Congo Basin, and there's been a lot of deforestation in those areas. So this is that is being conducted currently, where we have 5,000 trees, about yes 50,000 trees to be planted here in the northwest region of Cameroon. With the fact that first of all, the northwest region is climate is connected and it's mostly a conflict zone. So most of the places here have been burnt down. So this project goes about to reafforest, do reafforest they use charcoal, but this charcoal they produce is actually it emits less amount of carbon dioxide, emits less amount of gases, but it produces more charcoal. And this organization, the project is being funded currently by the European Union, and they have been able to sustain over 10 villages there in the central region in Yaoundé. The project was to come up to Bamenda, but due to the crisis, it really hasn't come up yet. But those are some of the projects that they are being implemented now to reduce gas emissions. So also have green infrastructure. Okay. So I have climate action in Cameroon. The Earth's climate is changing, and Cameroon, like other African nations, is bearing the brunt of this change. With with a value of over 118 in the climate vulnerability index ranking globally, over 70% of Cameroonian population is facing a drastic effect of climate change, with a great effect on the agriculture, forest, other land use sectors, as over one third of the population is actively involved in agriculture. Next slide. Okay, actions being taken here, I group them into three. I have actions currently being taken by the government, those are being taken by CSOs, and those are being taken by youths. So most of the points that we're giving, those with youths and CSOs are mostly similar. So I just group them into one. Next slide. Okay, so the actions that are being taken by the government is to revise forest policies and laws, to combat deforestation and forest degradation, planting over 650,000 hectares of degraded land, protection and conservation of over 3.3 million hectares nationwide. We have the implementation of climate smart agricultural practices in current agricultural systems. This project actually, this part, most of the most of the organizations here in Cameroon that are related to climate, like CAMU, uh, and other related organizations, but I know well of CAMU because I volunteer with them, and they are implementing a lot of climate smart agriculture, and it's really very helpful because this climate smart agricultural process that they are implementing, it actually lays hold of the fact of the problem of plastic pollution and the problem of agriculture. So they try to link them and produce better results. So now we have sustainable urban planning, initiation of climate sensitive development planning to ensure medium and long term infrastructures. So this third point is not really that much implemented here in the Northwest due to the crisis here, but in Yaoundé, in the center region, in Douala, in Bafoussam, in Chang, West region, and the others, they are implementing these projects there at a very much better pace than here in the Northwest. But hopefully, we pray here that after the crisis, after the crisis, maybe the problem will be solved, and we will also have some infrastructure here in the Northwest. So next slide, please. Okay, actions by the government still. We have the construction and investment in climate smart schools and infrastructures. We have construction and investment in climate smart health systems, which will be able to respond and adapt to climate change. So for the first part about climate smart schools, this program is still in construction actually, because the schools here, even when we go for outreach programs, suggestions in schools, we still see the need, because schools here in the northwest normally they are conflict affected a lot, and most times they don't even allow us young activists to be able to access the school due to security purposes. But the schools here, they are managing kind of, I don't know, but the level at which they are working is not yet really up to pace, but they are working currently. And the part of this climate smart schools is really being implemented at the region and littoral, but not much here in the northwest yet. So we also have curriculum reforms, investment in climate smart skills for critical sectors, and we have decentralization. Next. Okay, so actions here by youths. We have advocacy, just like I'm doing. I know of a lot more young people here in the Northwest that are also into advocacy, especially for climate, and they are doing a lot in the field of advocacy. We also have leading change. As they say, youths are the leaders of tomorrow, but we are realizing that youths are actually the leaders of today. And we have the creation and implementation of youth-led projects and initiatives on climate action. This mostly has been even at the level of CSOs. There's currently a program going on, the Innovation Week, which has been running for over 3 months now in the Northwest, where there's an organization, Mountain Hub, led by Mr. Ayok Etta, and he works on, they bring out ideas, climate smart ideas from young people through projects. They organize hackathons. So we have events like that currently going on in the Northwest. And we have community engagements, mobilizations, and sensitizations on climate. Next slide. I think this is the last slide, actually. So I've come to the end of my presentation. I'll be open to questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Please, before I give my comments, can you just pronounce your name for purpose, like, so we can pronounce it better?
Okay, it's Yosimbom Junior. Junior.
Okay, Yosimbom Junior. All right. Thank you very much for your presentation. I particularly was very excited when you mentioned that leading change, youths are no longer the leaders of tomorrow, but we are the leaders of today. And the earlier we realize that we are the leaders of today and stop deceiving ourselves that we are leaders of tomorrow, then tomorrow would never come, because we are the leaders of today. So thank you very much for your presentation. I love the presentation style. I love that it is explicit. And, for some of the actions that are going on in Cameroon, of course, Cameroon being an African country, we've seen other presentations from other facilitators, and definitely there are some similarities. But just before I proceed, the Northwest region that you're talking about, I know that Cameroon for sure has English speakers and French speakers. So the Northwest, is it dominated by the English speakers or the French speakers?
Yeah, the Northwest region actually is dominated by English speakers. We have the Northwest and the Southwest region. Those are the Anglophone speaking regions. And then the remaining 8 regions of Cameroon are French speaking.
Okay, so it's safe to say that Cameroon is mostly French dominated. Okay, great. So for the actions by, how to achieve 35% by 2035, I actually like that Cameroon as a whole have broken down this entire roadmap into like 4 different programs. It's not enough for you to just say you want to do something, but you have to break it down into how it can be achieved. And starting from 2015 to 2035. So I'd say, okay, 2025 is like next year. So say 10 years into the plan now. So how many, on a scale of 100, so how many percent would you just give like a rough estimate? How many percent would you say that how far gone have Cameroon, reached in terms of achieving this 35% of renewable energy, excluding the hydroelectric, by 2035? 2035 is like 11 years from now, and 9 years have gone by. So how many percent would you say you guys have gone in implementation or action, as the case may be?
Okay, thank you very much, Aisha. Um, Actually, in the Northwest here, especially here in the Northwest, because I've been in the Northwest. I was born here, raised here, so it's the Northwest I'm really versed with. So actually, here I can say that about 20%, all about 20% has actually been realized, because most of the work now is being done by civil society organizations through the government, and the government now acts as sponsors, just partners, and they partner now with these civil society organizations here to implement these projects here in Cameroon. So currently, I once attended a program. It was a next gen program. It was there at the up station, and in that program we had over 500 youths that were being educated on how to install solar energy, creation of maybe these wind turbines and things like this. We had a program on that, and it was over 3 days. That program was to educate youth on how to install solar systems, how to use solar systems, and the program has been running for over 2 years now currently. And there are several organizations that are partnering with this thing is Cameroon Renewed. They are partnering with Cameroon Renewed to educate youths on these sectors, on how to generate renewable energy, not just from hydroelectric power, but from solar and wind. So this project has currently been working, and it's also working in north, the northern parts of the country, the far north, the north, and the Adamawa, because they are mostly exposed to the Sahel region, and that Sahel has very high temperatures there. The temperatures there are I cannot say unbearable, because there are actually people living there, but they are very high. So they're in the north region. They are trying to use the fact that they have more sunlight there, as they're trying to use the problem of high level of sunlight there as a tool to produce renewable energy. And it is really working there very well, because the sunlight there is really something else. But they're actually making use of the fact that the problem there is the sunlight, but they're using it now for a better cause. And that's how Cameroon has been using most of the problems that it has here. They are trying to they're trying to mitigate the effects of climate change into a more possible and sustainable way. And currently, I would say, on a scale of, let me just say, on 100%, I'll say just about 20% of this has been implemented. So we'll have about 80% of the work to do for the remaining 11 years.
Hey, great. Thank you very much. So let's see how far Cameroon can go, maybe get to 80, 90, 100% for the remaining 11 years. Thank you very much. So during the course of your Symbol presentation, our second speaker joined us. So in the next slide, I'm going to be introducing our second speaker. But if you have any questions or comments for your Symbol, please, you can drop it in the chat, and I'm sure she can take it up there. Or while I introduce our second speaker. So our second speaker for today is from Rwanda. His name is Christian, and he's an electronic and telecommunications engineer at Africa Improved Food in Energy and Research Academy. He has been an author for Renewable Energy Africa in tackling Africa's innovation in renewable energy. He is also enthusiastic in clean cooking technology, especially in public schools. So, without wasting too much time, because time is fast spent, so we're going to give the floor to Mr. Christian to share his slides and listen to your presentation. Please, Mr. Christian, you have 15 to 20 minutes for your presentation because we're currently running out of time. Okay, I think we lost him for a bit. He's currently off, maybe due to technical issues. Okay, while we wait for him for a few minutes to join, I can see a question from the chat, so I'll just read it, and maybe Yosimbom can respond via the chat, or she wants to come up and speak. So the question is from Inyas. He said, thank you for your presentation, Janae. What is the national energy access in Cameroon? How the enterprises in the sector of renewable energy, how are the enterprises coping with technological barriers like lack of local manufacturing equipment in providing affordable energy system in Cameroon? So Yosimbom, do you want to come up and respond to that, or you want to respond to him via the chat?
Okay, I'll just take the question here. So let me get your question again. You said, what's the national energy access in Cameroon, and how's the enterprises in the sector of renewables coping with technology barriers such as lack of manufacturing of equipment in providing affordable energy systems in Cameroon? Okay, thank you very much for your question. Okay, I'll just take the question. So I know that the statistics that I lastly got, according to the World Bank, it shows that over over 54% of populations here in Cameroon have access to electricity. And this statistic actually dropped. It has dropped because currently the country is facing a lot of conflict, especially here in the northwest. And most of these infrastructures that were kept in place to be able to provide electricity to homes, industries, and parts of the country have been destroyed, especially here in the northwest. We had the part where we had to create. There was supposed to be the construction of a dam here, but due to the crisis, all of those projects have been stopped. So most homes in villages, very remote areas, local towns, let me say like places like Bansor, some parts of Bansor that used to have light, they no longer have light. Why? Due to the crisis. So most of these infrastructures have been destroyed here in the northwest. But in places like Yaoundé, in the central region, the capital, Douala, Bafoussam, and the rest, you have that is mostly the homes there. The homes there, even in the most remote villages there, they have access to electricity of over about, let's say, 82%. 82% of them there in those zones, they have access to electricity. But here in the northwest, it has really, really, really dropped. Why? Because of the crisis, the ongoing crisis. And then also your next question, you said, how do enterprises in the sector of renewables cope? Okay, how do they cope with lack of manufacturing of equipment? Okay, I'll not really say much because I'm not in this sector working on renewables, but I know that the organization that we work with, there's Hope for Better Future. They are mostly they work on renewable energy, using harnessing the power of on the sunlight to produce solar energy for homes. So what they do is, since they have this problem with manufacturing their own equipment, they partner up with organizations let's say, organizations in more developed countries that can be able to provide them with these equipments that they need. And when they partner up with them, they try to also seek funding from organizations such as the UN, the African Union, the European Union, all these big heads, and they try to them for free purposes. So they are able to fund the lives here. And when they fund this project, it's easy for them to access the equipment through the partners they have abroad, and they are being sent here to Cameroon for them to use. So I think that's the way that I know one of the organizations actually uses to manage renewable energy.
Thank you very much for that response. So I think Mr. Christian joined us back. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides now so that Mr. Christian can okay. Sorry about the interruption. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides now and try to share the slides for Mr. Christian. So I'll do that in 1 minute. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I am going to share Christian slides now. Can anyone confirm if they can see my slides?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, I'm trying to get it to the page.
Okay, hello everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So while you present, you can just tell me if you want me to move to the next slide, and I'll do that.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. I'll do that. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. My name is Christian Shima. I'm from Rwanda. Today I'm gonna share the insight on renewable energy technologies, climatic change innovations, and circular economy that are ongoing on Rwanda. So I'm here to first of all, I'm apologizing for being late for getting to the meeting. It was a problem of electricity in our country, but I'm glad I'm here with you guys, and I'm really excited to share you with my slide and what is going on Rwanda. So next slide, please.
So I'm trying to get to the next slide. Why is this not
Just
moving?
scroll down.
Okay, I guess it's the document. I just promised that.
Okay. Uh, about Rwanda, Rwanda in sustainable renewable energy technologies and circular economy, Rwanda is exciting many opportunities in discovering many resources as possible, such as renewable energy, especially by using our resources like rivers. We have many rivers in Rwanda, like over 54 rivers being extracted to provide electricity for the neighborhood, district, or sectors in order to provide for the beneficiaries that are nearby. The, the importance of this is like to get a study on Rwanda, how environmentally sustainable and economic growth on Rwanda is going to be a vital role in this topic. And we are going to share the key elements for the crucial stakeholders aiming to contribute to the Rwanda's development goals. Maybe in Cameroon can study from Rwanda, or other innovators can be studied about Rwanda, how they are doing their innovation in order to tackle the renewable energy resources. Next slide. You can scroll. According to the report that I have done with the REC, Rwanda demographic and energy access, we have like overpopulation of 40 million of people that live in small country like Rwanda, and we also have the access to the to those 60.9%, about 61% of households in Rwanda have access to electricity, which is a good statistic for Rwanda. And electricity access is around 44% of the population has the access to the electricity, and the clean cooking is more low. Uh, I don't know why, but according to my research, the country history says a lot, but we don't have this access to the clean cooking. We we benefit from the forest that we have because we have many rural areas, but in some provinces like Kigali City, the capital city, they have also access to the clean cooking, but it is not very much in common. We only have 23%. Next slide. The main sources of energy production in Rwanda, we have hydropower, which is common, which supplies 274.1 megawatts in 2003, according to the report done by Rwanda Energy Group, which is the lead company in providing clean electricity to the citizens. It shows like to provide 274.1 megawatts, and we have gas fired, where we have like Kivu project, which is the project near Lake Kivu, which generate to 60 megawatt, or to extract natural gas to generate. We have solar panel. One of the common projects that we have is in Rwamagana, where it provides the mini grid panel for home household in Rwanda. For this Agahozo Shalom, it is the district in Rwamagana where the genocide rescues build their homes, and their homes are provided by solar panel, and many households have solar panel on their house, and they use it as a renewable energy. And we have biomass and also fossil fuel, which is not common, but our renewable project is a significant investment are made in expanding solar power and mini-grid solution in rural areas, especially in rural areas, because in Kigali city and the other cities that are nearby, that are in Rwanda, they have access to renewable energy. Next slide. Uh, according to the reports done by Ministry of Infrastructure, Rwanda aims to achieve net zero emission by 2050, and the policies are made from the national strategies to transform and green growth and climatic resilient strategies are done, where the countries also encourage the investors to invest in climatic change project and also the renewable energy project. And the milestone that Rwanda has, it has the interim to target such as 60% of renewable energy shares by 2030. Right now we have 6 years to go, but we have been done a lot to get to there. I think like in 2028 we will be covered all the countries with the target to access to clean cooking and renewable energy. According to the plan that we have, the policies are made, and the good governments, and the transition plan, Rwanda Energy Transition Plan to extend renewable energy capacity, improving the energy efficient, and modernize the grid, off-grid, and on-grid. And the innovation, the country is elevating to the smart grid technologies and digital solution to enhance the energy distribution and the reliability. Through this innovation, Rwanda encourages the investors to invest in clean cooking and also the next slide. Circular economy approach that as Rwandan government the resources efficient waste reduction. It's like a logo where they put every dustbin in the city. They choose like, okay, this is for plastic, this is not for plastic. If you have been in Rwanda, when you go to get to the airport, all your sachets, plastic, you have to drop it in the dustbin, and we encourage you to take the paper envelope for 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 maintaining our environment and the making not wasting Kigali. Application Rwanda has been implemented the Made in Rwanda project, which is very being local productive and recycling, like where we use like raw materials to make shoes and other clothes that were imported from the countries, like you in order to promote our textile business. The benefit run for this circular economy, it helps the environmental impact and fostering sustainable economic growth through investing in those industries. It gives the job for the youth to work on those industries. And this IREMA event that you are seeing here, invest that you are seeing here, it is the application where they will generate over 300 million Rwandan francs, which is approximately 300K for 300K thousand USD. That is funded by the Rwanda Green Fund and BRD in order to help those investors or to help those youth who have the project in Made in Rwanda product, initiating for the cultural change and the local production and recycling in order to help those projects to sustain and be profitable. Next slide. Which is the conclusion. Rwanda aims to go green together, which is the aim in the in the SDG. Like Rwanda have this goal for going green, and they have this common words that they use. It is like we are going green together, means you are going green in sustainable energy. We are going green in order to tackle those climatic change through generating those policies, through generating those renewable energy projects. And we are going green together means for Rwanda, for clean city and clean people and access to electricity for better life and better Rwanda. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Christian, for your very insightful presentation. And of course, rumor, I don't know if to classify it as rumor, but the internet or pictures that I've seen, have really shown it that Rwanda is indeed one of the cleanest countries that we have in Africa. And I've also heard about, I believe not me alone, but I've also heard about the policy on plastic, especially at the airports, though I haven't been to Rwanda yet, but I hope to visit soon. So it is very, it's something that is worth emulating, to cut out plastic. I believe that that is one of the major reasons why Rwanda has been regarded as one of like the cleanest country in Africa. And during my time also at the University of Lomé in Togo, though this policy is not really implemented in the entire Togo yet, but inside the university, if you buy anything from any vendor, you're buying your food, you're buying water, snacks, or anything, they aren't really allowed to, put those things inside a plastic bag. Either you're coming with your own bag, maybe your handbag, or they wrap it for you in the paper. So this is something that is commendable, and it's happening in Rwanda, or it has already happened in Rwanda, and it's happening in some part of Togo, which is like the university. It shows that this is something that can be truly achieved because plastic pollution is another big problem in like all across Africa, and it is even more of a problem because we are not taking advantage of the opportunity that this plastic pollution has presented to us because they can be, upcycled or recycled into something useful for the environment, but sadly, maybe we don't have the technology or we're not just ready to, convert this plastic. And it's also important, or that I state that it is truly commendable, again, for a country of 13 million population having an access of over 60% energy access. You know me. You were talking about the energy mix, gentlemen, in the comments. If anyone has any comments or questions for Mr. Christian, please drop it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask questions so that he can respond. We have, come to almost the end of this webinar. So I'll just wait for 30 seconds for anyone to drop their questions or comments or contribution in the chat, or maybe indicate by a raise of hand or just directly unmuting their mic so we can keep the conversation going.
If there is any question, I would like to tackle another thing that Rwanda is doing Through that, Rwanda has been established established the campaign for also waste management. For example, it takes the electronic waste like computers and they make them into gold, which is very like crazy thing that is happening here. I'm going to share the video with you guys to know how it is done in Rwanda. For this YouTube video, let me share it to you, everyone.
Do you want to share the video now so I can stop sharing?
It is on YouTube.
Okay, maybe you just
I'm
paste the
sharing the
link.
link to
Okay.
everyone.
So
I'm pasting the link already. But this video shows how Rwanda takes the electronic device like waste and the coil that is in electronic device like old computers, they make them into gold. I have visited this one of
into
the
coal or
biggest
gold,
institutions. Gold,
like the actual gold.
the
Wow.
actual gold for sale.
Okay.
We have that particular industry where they take electronic waste, for example, computers, especially old computers. They make them, they remove that coil, they recycle them, and they provide the pure gold in it. This innovation has been generating more and more money. I don't know the exact amount of that money, but it comes with this big innovation, and Rwanda is extracting gold from the old computers, which are taken as waste from other government institutions. All the government institutions, ministries, institutions like schools, when they have like these old computers that were being used in 2000, like in 2000, they they take them as waste because they are not more used or they are not more digitally, and they bring to that facility, they extract them and provide them into gold, which is the biggest innovation that are done in Africa. I think it is only in Africa. Uh, it, it is only uh, African country that can tackle that innovation for uh, uh, providing circular economy products like that, or gold from old computers or old electronic device.
That is truly inspiring. Please, you guys should copy the link from the chat so you can watch the video. We'd also do that as well. So we can see how old computers can be, converted into something valuable, as gold. So thank you very much again, Mr. Christian, for your presentation. And we have come to the end of this episode or this session for this week. So thank you very much to everyone who has taken out time of their weekend to join us for over an hour in this thought-provoking and very educating session. Please, before you leave, I want to encourage us to follow us on our social media channels. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, which is formerly known as Twitter. And our username is constant, Maggreen or Maggreen360. You can find us on any of this social media channel. And if you want to shoot us an email, you can also do that at maggreen360@gmail.com. Feel free to send us an email if there's a need for collaboration or you want to share ideas, please feel free to reach us on our email or any of our social media platform. So thank you very much once again, everyone, for joining. And we'll definitely hope to see you next week. We have two speakers as well. I'm not going to reveal the countries that we're going to next, but we definitely have two speakers from two different countries. That is all I can see for now. So until next week, bye-bye, and do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye, everyone.